Hey everybody, it's Stacy Statterman. So I'm really happy to have a good friend and a former colleague, Wes McKutchin, here today. As you know, if you've been following along with this video series, I've been talking about the challenges with leading in uncertain times. We are still in uncertain times, though things seem to be a little bit on the turnaround, which is good, although not true for every place. So the focus for the series overall is really helping folks find more support, understanding that there are always opportunities to renew, pivot, and thrive, especially maybe in 2021 after the year we've had. And I put together this series and invited some friends and former colleagues and great leaders that I know out there to come and help us think about the future and think about this idea of leveling up. And one of my guiding quotes for the last, I don't know, almost 10 years probably has been by Rashad Tabakawala, who says, "The future does not fit in the containers of the past." So today's discussion and the discussion throughout this entire video series is about this idea of leveling up. And so I have invited Wes here, who Wes is currently vice president in the consumer card marketing area for Citi. But he is a complex man with a lot of things going on. We actually met years ago at Amex. He is a former media buyer, former Amex person, Howard University grad, husband, girl dad, newish, which we'll learn more about, and a new suburbanite. So we actually discovered recently that we're neighbors, which is kind of cool. So thanks for being here, Wes. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your thoughts on this idea of leveling up as a concept. So let me just start with that. What does leveling up mean from your perspective?
First of all, thanks for having me. It's great to get in touch with old colleagues from back in the day, and just hearing how everyone has grown since then. And so leveling up to me really is kind of about rising to the occasion. And that really applies to a number of areas of your life or of your job. So, it could be as simple as, you've got a big project coming up and that you've got, different things going on in your life, and you're kind of trying to balance and be able to focus on that. So you kind of may need to scale back in other parts of your life in order to accomplish this one thing. Or if you kind of have maybe say a big presentation at work, and it's to some senior folks, kind of tailoring your presentation and stuff towards them. Or if you need to pull back at work a little bit in order to handle personal responsibilities, I think that that's another aspect of leveling up. So just kind of moving with the fluid nature of life and work as necessary. That's kind of how I define it.
So I know a little bit about your answer here, but I want to make sure that everybody else has the chance to hear about it. So leveling up has been probably part of your thought process and your actions over the last couple of years, because you have a daughter who's 1 year old, I think. Yep. Just last weekend.
Yep, that's right.
You moved to the suburbs and bought a house for the first time. And of course, you're continuing to grow professionally and probably doing a million other things that I don't even know about. So how have you leveled up? Oh, by the way, we had a pandemic.
Yes, we did. Yes.
And you shared that like you've had actually one of the best years of your professional life. So how did you get all that working in the right direction? Because I'm sure you couldn't do everything at the same exact time with the same emphasis.
It's been a lot to say the least. But I think really what has been great is, one, I've got a great wife, and she understands that I can, kind of move back and forth between work and home responsibilities pretty well. I'm typically the type that will kind of sign off at about 5:15, but come back on at 8 o'clock and, kind of do a couple of hours of work as often as necessary, versus other folks may just try to kind of push through into the evening. So that has really helped. And so kind of thinking back to, the days before we moved, that would have been right around the time of early pandemic, plus getting ready to move and everything. So, I would take that time then to really kind of prepare us to move out of our apartment, and do pre-baby stuff back then, and then kind of sign back on at night, and everything. So I really think that it's just kind of going with the flow and doing what's necessary when it's necessary. And I'll certainly say that doing all of that at once left no time for me, which I was fine with, and everything. I had 37 years of just Wes, and Wes only, more or less, and everything. So being able to give that time and energy to other folks and things that are important at that time was just fine with me.
Yeah, it sounds like what I hear you saying is, and not in these exact words, is sort of the reprioritizing or understanding the what it means to have new priorities come into your landscape.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's you can't do everything at the same time with the same level of I'll say intensity, and time that it requires. So you kind of have to pull back in certain areas and push forward in others to get things done. And then once those things are done, you readjust once again, and everything. So that's typically kind of how I live my life. Not saying that will work for everyone all the time, but that seems to have worked with me thus far over the pandemic time.
Awesome. Yeah. And you mentioned it sounds like a secret support structure, not so secret, your wife.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what her partnership has been helpful in your journey to kind of level up several things at once.
Yeah. So she's very good at telling me what she needs and when. And so I want to have to remember that. And so if she knows that, she needs me to do something by this upcoming weekend, more or less through hell or high water, I need to get it done. And so make sure to do that. And then, she just understands that, that my professional growth is important to me, and she kind of allows me that space to be able to do that. But when she needs, my help with stuff or my input on, whatever it may be, I certainly know to kind of make that a priority at the time and stuff. And so, yeah, she's very flexible and forgiving at times with me, and I certainly appreciate that.
Yeah. Sounds like a relationship with a lot of good, clear, regular communication, which is awesome. And
yes,
absolutely. certainly central to the idea of leveling up. So, one of the things that we were talking about in our pre-call was this idea that we're in a time of an opportunity, really. And I'm a big fan of Scott Galloway, which I think everyone who's watched every video knows I am. And he has referred to this time as really full of incredible opportunity, specifically to repair and restore. And I'm curious, as you're new to a new community, you're moving within your organization and looking to continue to expand professionally. What do you see as opportunity for business, for industry to work on?
Yeah, so I look at that kind of as there's two big things that can come out of this time period that we're in now. One for businesses to really show that they are invested and committed to diversity and inclusion for really all of their employees. As one of the few Black males in my business, one of the few Black males that I kind of feel are on an upward trajectory, hopefully continued upward trajectory. That's something that's incredibly important to me, is for my organization to actually show that they are committed to that diversity. And depending on the leader, I have had those conversations that we need to be better at X, Y, and Z, and bringing in talent that is diverse, and then retaining them and giving them opportunities to grow. I'm very vocal about that. And then the second thing that I think is a huge opportunity that we're kind of just starting to get to move forward with is the whole return to work thing, where you can look at all sorts of different companies, and there are 50 different kind of scenarios of return to work around the country, whether it's going to be, 4 days in office, 3 days in office, 2 days, whatever it might be. There's a huge opportunity to make a hybrid model work. And each individual organization is their own, of course, but there's a big opportunity there. And I'm interested also to kind of see what the talent is going to demand from each of these organizations, as well as opportunity for organizations to bring in talent that they wouldn't have been able to get being so regionally focused. So I look at those as kind of the two big opportunities out there for everybody.
Yeah, very interesting and really related in a lot of ways too. Like when you take geography off the table, access to more people, but then also it sounds like being really purposeful and intentional about the kind of people that enter the stream to be, in the field of opportunity for the organizations that are hiring. I know that can be such a challenging thing. I know in my time, and you may have had similar experiences or different ones, but finding talent can be such a challenge. I mean, when you think of the actions that you're able to take to foster, conversations with communities and bring, you've got the outstanding connection to Howard. How have you been able to leverage that connection to help foster some of the, expanded support you want to have within an industry that has been kind of dominated by one particular group, neither of us are
a part of? Yes.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, yes, absolutely. I would not be doing my alma mater justice if I was not reaching back and being a part of the solution for the future. And so, what I personally partake in is recruitment. Well, it was on campus when we were visiting campuses, so I was taking part in that. But as well as recruitment of other African Americans to the bank, not just my specific area in consumer, but just in general. And one of the things that I think is great and very helpful as well is our CFO of Citi, Mark Mason, is also a Howard alum. So you have someone at the most senior level of the bank that is incredibly committed to his alma mater and kind of to the same cause. So that's something I'm very involved in, and kind of, as I mentioned as well, having these conversations with various leaders around my business. That's also equally important, so that they're aware of kind of other people that they may not kind of come in contact with, and kind of trying to get them that FaceTime and just introducing them to new groups and everything. So those are two things I'm very involved in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Real leveling up, if you will.
Yeah.
So I didn't ask you this, but I'm really curious to hear your answer. So your daughter's 1. Fast forward, she's 22, and she's entering the business world in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. What do you hope the environment then has leveled up to?
Oh man, I will say one, that women get the exact same opportunities that men get to advance, earn money, enter into industries, and succeed. As someone who wants to succeed as an African American male, I would want my daughter going into the working world to have the same opportunities and more. So that's one thing. If I'm also thinking about other things to kind of prepare her for the world of the future, is trying to be internationally focused. Like we're interconnected now as a global community, and it's going to be even more so in the future. So just like that international focus, I think is going to be incredibly huge for folks coming along and stuff. So I think that those are two things that I will really be looking to instill in her as she grows up and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we are global citizens one way or the other, by force or by choice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you about a quote that is on the bottom of your business email, and this will kind of help us round out our time together. This quote is, "Nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm." Tell me about that. Why is it on the bottom of your email? What does it mean to you?
It means a couple of things. Obviously what it says is, like, if you're looking to accomplish big things, great things in life, like, you need to have some energy behind it. And honestly, that's kind of how I live my professional life. I feel that if you were to talk to any colleague, any teammate, any leader I've ever had, it's very rare that they would say, yeah, Wes wasn't really kind of feeling that project or that conversation or anything like that. I want to set the tone for not just for Wes, but those that I work with, that, we can get through these things, that are, difficult, whatever it may be, complex, and, having that enthusiasm that we're going to do that, 9 times out of 10 is going to rub off. Not that it's going to be, flawless execution, whatever it may be, but, I'm going to have a good attitude about doing it, going through the ups and downs. I'm going to be laughing, rolling my eyes, whatever it may be. But I'm going to be enthusiastic about it. And I think folks will remember that and working with me time and time again.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that this quote acknowledges the fact that we're emotional beings. We're emotional beings. And so often, I think, we kind of have this message, hoisted on us in professional environments, that you can't be emotional. And in fact, it's like emotion fuels everything. So
yes.
In this example, it's sort of a call to remember the mindset, remember the state in which you show up in the work itself. And I think the idea that we don't need emotions in, or shouldn't have emotions in the workplace, are mostly about outbursts and anger.
Right.
Uncontrolled emotions can be challenging, but the idea that it's up to us to bring the energy, bring the interest and excitement. Sometimes we got to bring it a little more for things that we're having some challenges with, but there's a great payoff, and I think that's a great quote to have at the bottom of the email. And I plan to show my daughter, who's on a softball team this season, they're not having the best season. It's been a very rough time, and I keep saying, you know what, it doesn't help to go into the next game assuming that it's not going to end well. So this can be a tough lesson to learn, but I love that you shared that. And I really love, Wes, that you've been able to spend time here today, teaching us a little bit about how you look at leveling up. It's been a great conversation. And I want to encourage anyone who's, watching this or watching it in replay or live, please connect with Wes if you want to get to know him better. He's somebody I've known for a long time and had the pleasure of working with. And I love now that we're neighbors. And I can continue to keep up that relationship in a new way. So thanks for being here, Wes.
Of course, no problem at all. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So for people who've been following this series, I will be back next week, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with another leader who will share some of their ideas and information about leveling up. And if you're around today and are interested in having a career growth discussion, I'll be on Clubhouse at 3:00. So if I don't see you till next time, have a great one, everybody.